This right here is the Pawious wireless pet fence, and what this is going to allow you to do is have your dogs in a confined area without the use of any cables, any wires, and you don't have to bury anything underground. Like I said, this is completely wireless between the remote and the receiver. So this set has been sent to me free of charge for this review, and I am going to be demonstrating how to use this wireless pet fence and how it's going to work with a dog. First thing I do want to go over is what you get and how you're going to set it up. So the first thing you get is, of course, your receiver. And the receiver is going to be very simple to use. All you need to do, power it on, get it paired to the remote. On the back here is where your contact points are going to be located if you are using the static shock feature. And you do also get two different sized prongs for that. One's going to be for short hair, one's going to be for long hair. This is what the long hair prong is going to look like, and those just screw right into place. The next thing you get is the remote, and that is where you are going to be controlling all of the different modes. It's going to be how you're going to set your boundaries. We will be going over how that works here shortly. The next thing you get are these flags. What this is going to be used for is a visual boundary. These don't have to be used all of the time. They're just going to be used to get your dog trained of where that boundary is. For this demonstration, I will not be using the flags because my dogs are already trained on what a shock collar is, so they're going to catch on really quick on how this wireless pet fence is going to be working. And then you do also get a USB-C charging cable, which is going to charge both the receiver and the remote. For the remote, this does completely come off the stand. It does just sit on there. If you don't want to use the stand, you can flip out this little tripod stand right here and set it up that way. This stand right here does extend, and you can also fold it down into a compact size, and it can also be rotated. So the first step in getting the wireless fence set up is pairing the receiver to the remote. The way you're going to do that is come in close here. We have a pairing channel selection button right here. What you're going to do is hold that until you see a 1, 2, and a 3. What that 1, 2, and 3 means is the different channels, allowing you to connect 3 different collars to this one remote. Then on the collar, what you're going to do is hold the power button until you have a fast flashing green light. Then if you ran out of time, go back into the 1, 2, and the 3, push the power button, and then within 15 seconds, they should automatically pair together. You're going to know that the collar is paired to the remote when you have a slow flashing green light. If you don't, just repeat those steps until it gets paired successfully. So from here, once you are paired, you're ready to set your boundary. Your remote is going to be located somewhere in your house, whether that be by a door, mounted on a wall, or just sitting on a table. But this does need to be located inside. Then wherever you have decided to place your remote, you're going to decide on the distance of the boundary that you want. So for example, say that this is on your kitchen table. The boundary is going to be a complete circle depending on how far you want your dog to be able to go out. So here you have the remote. Our circle is here. If you want them to have 100 foot, they can go 100 foot this way, this way, this way. They can go 100 feet away from the remote in a complete circle. Once they get out of that boundary, that is where your signals are going to come in, whether that be a vibration or the static shock. All right, so on the remote, I'm at a boundary of 10 foot. So I can go 10 foot in whatever direction before any signals start coming through the collar. And if I do get out of the boundary, then the remote is also going to send out a signal. So like I said, this is going to be inside. So if your dog does get out of the boundary, this is going to signal to you so you know that they are trying to escape the boundary that you have made. So like I said, this is at 10 foot, so I can go 10 feet out. The collar is beeping and the remote is beeping as well. And then once I go back into the 10-foot boundary, the signals are going to stop. So from there, that is where you want to pick what type of training method you're going to use, whether that be the vibration or the static shock. For this demonstration, I am just going to be using the vibration, and you're going to pick those options with this M right here, and you'll see a little vibration icon. If we click that, it's going to go into the shock icon. Along with the remote signaling to you that your dog has reached their boundary or they're stepping out of their boundary, it's also going to tell you the exact feet that they are away from the remote, whether they're in the boundary or not. So if you take a look at the top number here, as I walk away, that number is going to keep increasing, letting you know how far away from the remote I am. So now that we have gone over how to get the remote paired, how the boundary works, the next thing we're going to go over is how you're going to pick your boundary. Like I said, you have a minimum of 10 foot and a maximum of 120 foot. Wherever you have the remote, that is going to be your center point. And whatever boundary you pick is the amount of feet that they can go in either direction before they get that signal. So from here over to that fence is about 90 feet. But since that is the boundary I don't want them to cross, I'm going to set my boundary a little bit less than that 90 foot so they get signaled before they even reach the fence. So right here I have a boundary adjustment, so I'm going to increase that to about 85. I'm going to go ahead and put this on timber here, and we're going to walk him just straight out. So if you can hear that, we are being signaled, and if he stays here, it's going to start vibrating. Alright, so he got a vibration and he knew to get back to where the beeping is going to stop. So that is just how simple it is to use this wireless pet fence. As you've seen here, Timber did a really great job of recognizing that he was getting a signal and returning back to the boundary where he knew he was safe in. And that is because he is already accustomed with these types of training collars. However, if your dog is not, you are going to have to do a little bit of training with them, whether that be walking them out of the boundary and back in to get them familiar with it, or using the visual flags so they have that visual boundary line as well. But if you are looking for a way to keep your dogs confined in an area around your home without having to have them chained up, without having to have a physical fence, and of course without having to bury any cables or anything like that, this wireless fence by Pawious is definitely one worth checking out.